I found recently that Dakota Art Supplies offers a panel so that you can mount your own paper to. It's cumbersome to me when you go bigger because I like bigger. And so I allow them to do it. I'll send my size I want and type of paper I want to have it here and let them do the bigger version. But I'm okay. This is a 12 by 16 and I'm using Pastel Premier to attach to it the medium weight. And the hardest part about this is concentration.
So what's your substrate?
It's known as an art board and it's archival and it's made available through Dakota. And it has the sizes listed here. You know, you're looking for what size of it can accommodate. Basically, it's a sticky panel on archival board. So it already has the glue surface and you're peeling away. And I've made major mistakes on this. So it is tricky. So you're peeling away. Don't peel the whole thing at the first go. You want to have your paper already sized to the panel you're using. And when you lay it down, once you lay it down, you're not moving it. So you have to be extra cautious. And I might need to get down close so my eyeglasses work better. So you're lining up your corners initially. You give it a little press. And then you're pulling back on this sheet. And as it goes forward, I press it down so I don't get any bubbles. But I've misaligned before and still used it. It got a little crooked, and that edge is a little crooked. If you can see it close up,
That's
it
what
went
the
off
frame is
slightly.
slightly
Right.
bigger.
Right.
If you cut the paper slightly bigger and then trim it off.
Yeah, I can trim this edge a little bit, but then what I do is I use the same sheet on top, and I use a burnisher, and I make sure that I don't have any bubbles or that it's adhered correctly. And I'm always using an extra sheet, the extra sheet, because I don't want to tear at my surface because this is pretty gritty, but it'll show up if I carve something into it. So basically that'll work fine. That little minor edge, no big deal, because it's going to get hidden under the rabbet of the frame. So that's as simple as it gets. And it's a nice sturdy surface. I like a softer surface, to be honest with you. And I'm using mainly the Pastel Premier with some backing on my piece of masonite when I'm out in the field working, because I like to give on that. And that's where you were saying with the Canson Thames, you have that kind of give. But I'm okay with this. It doesn't damage the tooth at all. And for me personally, I coat my surface with a thin layer of tempera paint, not tempera, acrylic, bright yellow, school bus yellow, because it actually causes me to grab brighter colors in my palette, and that's where I fit as an artist.
Then do an alcohol wash.
No,
You just use the.
no, I don't use the alcohol wash. I know a lot of people do. If I'm laying in a sketch, my sketches are pretty minor at this stage. I don't like a whole lot of pre-drawing.
Yeah.
I'm just using a pastel pencil as a couple guidelines, and I just drop in right away with color.
How thick do you make your yellow paint?
Very thin.
Oh.
So I get it at the craft store, and I pour it into a container, and then I dilute it with some water with a nice wide brush, and I just coat it on, and within 20 minutes or so, it's dry.
Oh, so it's not just.
No, just thin acrylic surface. So you can tint this with any kind of color at all. You can use watercolor if you want to.
Are the two pieces? You've got board, and then there's a separate thing that
This-
you put onto the
This
board?
was the painting surface,
Yeah.
which
That-
was this.
That,
Yeah,
okay, the
Pastel Premier.
And that's the board.
That's the board. It comes in a 2-pack. And I guess it's around $30 for that size.
I'm guessing. Can you print this?
Yes.
pretty good knife and stuff.
Yeah, it's a tough one to cut them.
Yeah.
You can't cut it.
Feels like it.
Yeah,
Is it like you?
yeah, pass it around if you want.
Do you know if
Here's the information sheet on it.
will cut those to custom sizes for you, like
Yes.
bigger ones?
Yes, Dakota will cut custom size because I use
Yeah.
20. I use a 20 by 24 size, and they offer well, they offer 20 by 24.
Okay.
But for me to do that, it's nuts.
Right, yeah, no.
I tried it, but it doesn't work.
I have at least 3 weeks off.
Yeah, you'll lose a lot of hair on it. And yes,
You use the same technique with finished work, you know, the people who aren't
no,
confident enough
no.
with them.
No, I just use this. So this pastel premier, I don't always mount one stuff.
Okay,
No, and I'll take it to a framer and they can do whatever they want.
okay.
And my framer, which is what we're gonna discuss a little bit now, she'll do anything for me.
So you,
I think what she was asking is, have you ever done the whole artwork and then
No.
putting the cut on the board?
You know, no, but I think somebody else
You
who
can
has.
do it. You need just glassine to put on. top of
Yeah,
it.
this heat would work because it's resistant.
Right.
But
To
that,
keep that cooled off.
that might,
Cause static.
shrink, no, when you bend that paper, if you're kind of bending it to, it might like crackle or like pastel might be.
It might. See, I don't mount here. No, it's handy for smaller works and they come in various sizes. So, and they come in 2-pack. And I found it pretty economical in the long run. From 5 by 7 up to 30 by 40. So
Thank
the
you.
You're welcome. The next part they asked me to show was the matting effects. I don't use mats anymore, but I know the process. So I thought, well, I got some that produced that. So this was for an outdoor show years ago. It has museum board, which is really tough to cut. I did a double, same bevel. So this is your standard solution. And then on the back, I have museum foam core adhered, which gives it the elevation off of the painting area. So, and see this, what this is from? Look, those of you who don't use decent tape, it leaves an acid effect.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, this is what acid does to pastels, but this has been adhered with a different method. Yes glue. This was adhered with yes. YES. Yeah, and that's supposed to be archival as well. And I had, of course, I mounted it on a museum board, and it is archival. I'm a firm believer, if you're gonna make a piece of work after some time of being in the field, you want the buyer to be able to have it for a lifetime. And pastel work can actually do that if it's preserved correctly.
Denise, why do you have that space?
Well, oh, yes, that's the whole purpose. The reason for the elevation behind the matting is so that the excess pastel from the work doesn't fall onto the mat or behind the glass in front of the mat on the glass.
Okay, so that's like the spacer.
It works like the spacer. Yeah.
It creates, literally.
It creates an elevation place between the artwork and the matting. So if there is, if you're heavy-handed, which I am, it'll just drop off behind it. And then you won't have to open it and clean it and put a new mat on it, which is a pain in the butt. This is one that I took to my framer and I asked her to do. And she put the elevation point on a prefab mat. So this is a off the rack frame glass, regular, any kind of glass, the hardware kind of glass, I guess. and, the regular mat. And she put the elevation stuff behind the mat. She sealed it back, like they're supposed to do.
It's 12 by 16 or?
This one, the artwork is 12 by 16.
Couldn't see it.
Yeah, the frame is 16 by 20. So it gave a little bit of, but I don't mat anymore, so. But that gives you an idea of what it can be in terms of finished products.
And why don't we mat anymore?
I just love the appearance that it looks like a painting as opposed to I'm going through these layers to get to my painting. Oh, what kind do I use? Gary's Autorama, plein air frames, and then we use the spacers that we'll be talking about a little bit later. Yeah, so I order them, I take them to Michael's, they do all the installation, and it's worth the headache to me.
Yeah.
Years ago, I used to do all my framing, and I'm like, oh, I can't do this. So,
I'm sorry, did you say you bring the spacers to my house?
no,
Or
they have
them?
spacers. Yep.
But you buy the frames at Jerry's?
I buy the frames at Jerry's Autorama.
They will.
They will do that. Yeah,
No.
they will do
Have
any
you,
frame.
have you heard of Artisan?
Um,
The site Artisan in Charleston.
no.
It's another place where you can get frames and you can either have them assembled or you can get them ready to assemble, and they're about the same price as Jerry. They're much lighter. They have
Yeah, these are
variety.
heavy. These are
Yeah, the
heavy.
Jerry's ones are really heavy.
Yeah, more solid wood.
Artisan. I'll
Okay.
right over here, but it's yeah, I mean, figure we can share.
Yeah, sure, thank you.
Specific frame?
Plein air.
Oh, the plein air. Oh,
And then there's a museum plein air, which has a little fancier,
oh, yeah.
detail on the edge. But I find the rabbit is what I'm looking for when choosing any frame,
Oh, sure.
because the rabbit makes a big difference.
What is the rabbit?
The rabbit is the thickness from the artwork to the back of it. So that where actually the glass will fit, and possibly your mat or backing. So you're looking at that thickness to make sure that you've got enough room to accommodate.
So what thickness is it, like 1/8 of an inch or 1/4 of an inch?
But I got three numbers up.
That's the measure of the sandwich.
But if you just wanted to know off the top of your head, you go to Jerry's Autorama, you look up the museum, and you look up their plein air frames, look up the details, and it will tell you the rabbit.
Right.
And I think it's close to half an inch.
Yeah.
If
Not much.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not mistaken. But I've ordered some frames where they've not been deep enough, and it just kind of looks awkward where it cuts out the back.
No, sure. That's why I'm wondering.
Yeah,
Because I know.
and if you're doing it yourself, then you're running into a problem, how do I attach
Right.
it
Oh,
and
I know.
secure it? Because that's the hang up.
And
Right.
there are special brackets,
Yeah.
contents that will offset. I mean, there are ways to do it.
Yeah, it's just.
But the other nice thing about not using spacers and mat is that it gives you more options of frames, but then there are a lot of frames that have skinnier rabbets that you couldn't do with the mat.
Absolutely.
If you're just framing with
Yes.
against the glass and glass margin.
But I'll take my pastel premier without backing. She'll put the museum backing on it for me, and so
Awesome.
it
How
works
much-
out really good.
How much does it cost, just for
Okay,
curiosity?
ballpark. So if mine is, say 16 by 12,
Mhm.
this size.
Yeah.
It's around $80. Glass, hanging equipment,
Glass?
museum glass,
Museum glass?
museum glass, acid-free backing, spacer,
Where do you get the museum glass and?
Michael's.
So Michael charges you about 80.
For this
And
size.
then
For this size.
It's a regular customer with this framer. Your framer is different.
That's true.
If you're a repeat
She doesn't have to
customer,
bring her 4
right.
pieces.
if you go to another Michael's, you may get an entirely
That's
different.
true. It's 21st century. If you go on a regular basis, they're gonna give you a better deal. And you tell them you want the best deal. I mean, really, we all wanna save money. Yes.
I did like one recently that was really special to me, so I wanted it done well, and I used Michael's. And they told me about their glass and unfortunately I can't think of the name of it. But I researched it because they said it's like museum, but it wasn't called
No,
museum
yeah,
glass.
yeah, there's
But
stuff,
I
yeah.
researched it and I even went to the company and all researched it and it's with glass.
Yeah,
It's
Yeah.
art
Yeah.
class and then.
Maybe that's.
Clear view.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, but I've been using museum glass and I'm really satisfied to know that the client that's gonna be buying my work. And I'm not selling for like a lot of money by comparison. I mean, I can be quite honest with you. A piece this size will be like $5.50. You know, that's not extravagant. 20 by 24 is gonna be like $800.
Yeah, but then you take.
But I'm doing my,
and your
my,
labor
my,
and
my
your-
framing,
and
my
your-
frame.
Oh my God, and your self-employment.
Yeah, so,
And your.
yeah, so,
And your.
but I also look at it this way. I am putting it in their hands and I'm keeping it in my
Yeah.
mighty big collection,
Yeah.
which I love. Yeah, right. So back to the mats. Next, any questions about that? Honestly?
I was thinking of doing that. Don't forget the gallery.
So this is double-sided tape, the framing tape. So I'm just cutting strips and they're not beveled in any way. They're just a simple straight cut, but you can do a bevel cut. This one shows a bevel cut on it.
What do you adhese it with? Or
That's
is there
a museum board.
adhesive already?
Museum board, okay.
Museum foam,
Okay.
backing.
Double-sided tape?
The framing tape,
Oh, framing.
the framing tape,
Okay.
okay? And this one just happens to be a double mat. I already had one. And this is the reverse method. The first one is your typical slant in. The second one is the slant in the other direction.
On the inside against the pastel piece.
Yes, yes, so it's coming in this direction. And also the raised part is doing a bevel. So that works very effectively. It'll drop back and not be a problem. This one is a little different. It's a double mat, but the elevation point happens between the two mats
Oh, wow.
for the same reason.
That's what you live in.
Yeah, for the same reason. But you're still looking at the possibility with the inside. I like the look of it.
Yeah, sure.
I love the look of it, and it has happened on these prefab frames for me before. So I've had a few works go out like that, but it will drop back here. But then that means you only have to cut the inside. Again. So that's kind of my matting, and then we're going to glass.
that's
So we're
great.
waiting.
So what I'm gonna go over the list and of supplies. And here, this is on the website. So I have all the supplies you need up here. It's not really that intensive. It just looks like it because I'm being very detailed. So, and the person who gets the door prize gets. I have never in my life used any sanded paper yet. I hope to do some plein air on it, but I use Canson Meaton, and I also do not use the bumpy side because the pastel can't get inside there. Now, that's just, and I started a portrait one time and then I had to like start a new one because anyway, it was terrible. I have a masonite, what we call hardboard at Home Depot. This is 3/8 of an inch, I think. And an 1/8 of an inch would be fine even for bigger sizes, but you know, you don't want to do too large of an 1/8 because it's, you want it more stiff. So, this is all 6x8. I have my paper cut. This is the sand. The U part, 600, and then this. Okay. So I have this. I have my French rolling pin. I have sandpaper, and I have some water here. And I have some school glue. This says strong formula, extra strong formula. You just don't want the washable kind. I can't find the regular school glue anymore. I have a single edge razor. This is just like a bone, like you had a, whatever you use to press. Yeah, I just, and this is something I can use my fingernail, it says in here too, which I'll do. I have a washcloth or paper towels. And this might come in handy later to fix something if it didn't adhere all the way, my knife. And then I have a toothpick too, just to sneak some glue in there if it messes, if it doesn't adhere very well. I think I have, oh, and then we have wax paper, big deal. So you can use Flossie, but I've never had to. And plus this is, you basically can, you have to use a few sheets of wax paper because the glue might get on it and you need to get rid of that. Any questions on materials right now?
So this is the wet method.
Oh yeah, this is the wet mounting method. So I cut the board, I gessoed the board with Liquitex acrylic gesso. I made the mistake of buying transparent or something one time, and it actually is not smooth at all. It like is bumpy, and so maybe it's good for pastel, I don't know, but you want a smooth surface. So if there are any bumps on your panel, take this, and you can, I don't need to because they're pretty smooth, but sometimes there's bumps, so you just take a little bit of this. Wasn't really beautiful. I mean, here it didn't take too much care, but the edges might be a little bumpy because of the big table saw that I had to use. I'm not too worried about that because it goes under the frame anyway. You'll see in this, if you pass it around or go online, actually I could pass it around. I actually paint on, I do my painting on a board with padded paper like Denise, and then I put my Canson tint with the sticker side up, take the sticker off, and it provides that soft support. So
I'm sorry, what else? What Liquitex products?
oh, it's Liquitex acrylic gesso.
Oh, it is acrylic gesso.
Yeah, Liquitex. And I paint on these panels. This would need another coat of gesso for me to actually paint oil paint on these, but I do paint on these. So what we're going to do is,
So that's masonite.
this is masonite, but in the Home Depot or whatever, it's called hardboard. It's 1/8 inch and it's really smooth on one side, so that's sometimes you can get them double-sided, but
Okay, now what's the difference in that? Say gator board.
well, I don't know if you can use gator board. I guess you can.
Yeah, gator is.
Oh,
They're
okay.
very good. One of them is a man-made product that has, I'm no expert with this, but it's a man-made product that has a smooth surface and it's,
Isn't it kind of-
looks a little bit like foam core, but it's more, it's archival, whereas foam core is not always archival.
I believe it's a good composite surface.
Yes, it is. You're right.
This, yeah.
Gator.
Oh, okay.
It's
Oh, is it
much
gator?
more expensive. Gator board.
I'm just trying to keep the paper from curling. That's why I know. Here. So here we go. This is this one. So right now I'm going to wet the paper. And if you look at my handout, I actually do it after I paint. Okay, so I'm gonna flip this over. And I use a cloth or a paper towel, I guess.
Now that's the taunts.
Yeah, Canson meat tent, however you say it. So you have to hold down your paper because it might start curling up on you. I mean, you can see how it's curling up. And so you're just, it is pretty sopping wet, and you can do this.
I'm surprised you're using that.
You get your whole, I mean, if you look at that, I did it with the portrait on there. So I'm gonna put this over here for right now. Then I'm gonna let that dry. Oh, see it curled up. I don't want it to curl that much because there might be art on that side. I did on that pastel get some glue on the background and I had to, I couldn't, it's another story. So, you just want a bead of glue around the, sometimes I put my finger here, but. So you're just gonna put a bead of glue around here. I would do it. I'm just trying to do it a little fast. You want a good solid bead. Now remember, my pastel artwork is upside down on wax paper. It's scary. The biggest one I've done was a 22 by 40 inch pastel girl.
Wow.
So then what I'm gonna do, you wanna take your your finger or whatever and kind of flatten this down. It's okay if it gets on the edges. The one thing you wanna have is a separate wet paper towel, so you're not wiping your hands off on the paper towel or like that you might put on the, because I still have to wet that, again. Just grab this. Don't want to put any glue in the, just get
So when
my
you're
finger
mounting this, you're not, you haven't drawn on the paper yet. Put all
Well, I have, if you look at my handout. But I'm saying I'm doing this for you. So now I'm gonna let that, you don't wanna do this thing, wait too long because you don't want the glue to dry. So you have to go back to this. Just make sure the paper is wet again, because the pastel paper stretches. I mean, when it stretches out when it's wet. You know about paper making. So I just want to make sure it's wet. And if anybody wants to do this, I don't know if there's time, but I did bring extra. So in the handout, I say grab it like this so you can, you can manage it well. Then you're flipping over, like Denise, you're lining it up. This is movable because it's just. Now the pastel paper stretches one way, like either this way or that way. And sometimes I have to worry about, like, I'm not going to be too concerned that this, oopsie, I just got glue on it. So if you get glue on it, you can just sort of do that. And hopefully it won't dry there, but that's what happened to me. It dried on the background, which I had there was no background. So it dried on the paper, a little line of glue, and I had to use some pastel to cover it up. And thank goodness the client was fine with it. So I'm getting rid of this because I don't know if there's any glue on it. So in the handout, I have a portrait usually in the middle. You just take your hand from and you don't really want to press too much on the face or the middle of your pastel painting, your landscape or your flower, your still life or abstract. You can, but I'm trying to just get everything out to the middle. And this is best to use because it doesn't have, a regular one ends and actually I had ridges in my paper when I was rolling it out with the regular one, but the paper dried and there was I was fine because that didn't matter. But then I invested in this because I didn't want to freak out about having it dry. So I'm kind of just rolling it from the edges out. Can you see the bottom part? Can you see this, Helen?
Yes, we can see it fine.
Okay, good.
I'm fascinated here. You're not crushing the pastel when you do that?
Well, if I had my artwork here, I would be doing it all around the edges and not on the face.
Okay.
But I can do this to make sure. Now see the
Right.
glue squeezed out. I have to throw this away. So you see why you don't want to use gloss.
Right.
Now it's not dry yet, but you can see it's pretty darn flat all the way, right? It's really flat.
Can you do this in advance before you do the painting and have
Yeah,
the boards
glue
ready
right
to
there.
go?
You can do this and paint on it.
Okay.
And the person taking home the door prize is gonna have a sanded one and this one. But there's a little, I think there's a little bit of glue there, which I'm gonna see, it's a little dark there, so even my paper that I.
So you don't put any glue in the middle, it's.
No,
only
it's
in the
just on the edge
Just on
and,
the end.
and you
You
can
wanna
see
mix it.
that the pastel paper stretches beyond. I just got this a little.
So what happens once the glue dries and it's in humidity? Does the paper in the center where there's glue move it all? Do you ever get?
No,
waves or
it's
just-
all hot. It's all hot.
And that will dry clear, right?
It'll dry clear. So I
So
just,
it gets wet and then it shrinks down. And
because paper's made with
Yeah.
water, you know how it. Used to make some paper, I mean, I learned not to, I took a workshop. So I'm being very patient. You'll see on the, handout that you might have, oh, I didn't do something really important. Okay, well, this doesn't matter, it's so small. But in a bigger one, here's the thing, you wanna take your fingernail or something like this. I usually use my fingernail, and you wanna make sure all those edges are sealed, because if they're not, you're in big trouble as it dries. Cause it'll create a pocket and then the whole thing makes a big pocket, so.
Now, you've got an image right there,
Yeah, I
right?
do. Mhm.
And so it's not affecting your image by doing all that.
Pastel, like on this paper, I don't know about the sandwich, on this paper,
It kind of bonds. but-
no, I mean, no, it just, there's a ghost image, but it's not.
I'm just thinking where you're
And
going.
then it's a ghost image on the paper, and yeah, I put down several pieces, I mean, I have to.
And could you do what you just did, if you have an image, by having it turned over and do it on the back, so you're pushing that edge in?
I don't know what you mean.
Well, like, could I do it? Just, if you just had it,
Let's put it on some other.
Yeah.
yeah. I'm not,
But by the way, use this, that better.
like, if you
black
did it
paper, not cheaper, because I.
Oh,
tried
really?
that just-
here,
That's good to know.
do it that way, and then put this, and then do your pressing on the edge. Do you think that would be effective?
I mean, it's not doing anything because
Well-
you're pressing here.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
So, no, I would press on.
Okay, I'm just curious.
Parchment paper. Yeah, but I don't know, I think you're gonna throw it out.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to.
I would just.
Yeah.
So
I think you have a border.
you wanna just baby this as you do it, you just wanna baby it, and if you get a little freaked out, just, don't freak out. But, put some of this on and do this again, or you can use a regular rolling pin, it's just I had a crease in it when I did it all on the face, I'm like, oh. But it wasn't dry all the way, so it dried fine, it was perfect.
So even with that gigantic one that you did, you only have the glue around the edge.
Yes, and it's framed with spacers. So that's pretty much it. Oh, the other thing is, once it dries today, the glue is still, everything's kind of wet. So, I mean, I can kind of take some of the glue off or smoosh it around. There's, extra glue. But then after it dries for at least maybe a half an hour or so, if it's really dry, you can just cut off the extra paper. That, one of the things about positioning it, I really don't pay attention to which way it stretches, but I should. Because, of the portrait, and if I want it it might stretch an eighth of an inch or more, you have on either side, so.
How can you tell in advance which way the paper?
Well, I should pay attention as I'm doing it for like 10 years, but I don't, so I don't I should know which way that needs.
Do you buy the paper on a roll or?
Oh, I do have paper on the roll, but right now you can only get white and black. The big, but I bought some from Jonah Egley, who doesn't use it anymore, and she's trying to get, now she's trying to get some from France. She has a friend anyway, I don't know if you
Because
can.
I think the fibers on the roll are going to be.
Yes,
Line.
I just don't know.
That's a
which
good idea.
in the Sheet that comes in. So we'll let this dry and
Thank
Um,
you.
I want to make sure I did it. Oh, sorry, if you have little pockets forming on the edge, you can, use a toothpick and push some glue in there and then, push your finger down and roll it out again. You can also just do this, I like to put the wax paper on, but just to make sure it seals all the way around. That's the big deal. And then we'll let it dry and trim it off. I think that's everything I covered.
That's cool. Thank you. That's
Thank
amazing.
you.
So you can paint on this. I haven't done it, but I probably will now.
And I'm guessing, are you gessoing the board because otherwise it's not?
Oh, yeah, you have to gesso the board, yeah, and maybe I would gesso it twice. I didn't put a thick layer of gesso on, but do you know how to gesso boards? If you want, I'll just run through really fast. You sort it out on the plain board, and I do the edges just because it's kind of nice. I have it on cardboard, and I squirt out some, and I just keep going with a really tapered. What is it called? It's a finishing brush. It's not a blunt cut, so it's a nice kind of a nice brush. So I do this back and forth, pretty much this speed, and about 5 minutes, the brush tip, you'll feel how it's not doing anything anymore, but keep doing it and it smooths it out with no ridges. But you go this way and this way until it's nice and smooth.
And the gesso you're using is
What?
is like a liquid gesso?
Yeah.
Because I usually use
It's
the stuff.
Liquitex
Oh,
acrylic
okay.
gesso.
Okay.
It's a
All right.
bottle that you can squirt out.
Oh, okay.
Have you ever, what do you say, what kind of sandpaper do you use?
It doesn't matter. This is
It's
just a rough.
it's just, okay.
Have you ever used, the gesso have you ever, used pastel and gesso?
No. And I've never made any surface, but, do you know Ellen Eagle, anyone? Ellen Eagle from New York City. She's amazing. She has a book. I should bring it one meeting. She shows you pumice, like she has a whole.
She does pumice.
It makes this beautiful, grid, texture. She's a member of the Portrait Society, which I guess you heard about the trip. I'm sorry I was late. I didn't talk about it. Did you guys talk about the trip? Yes. Yeah. I don't know. Oh, okay, thank you.
Yeah, what is this?
Andre?
Ellen Eagle.
Like eagles, like
Yes.
bird eagle, the birdie?
Yes.
Yeah, we just wanted to this is Helen. We wanted to clarify again, why do you do this after you paint and not before?
Because I want a very soft surface to do my pastels on. And I may, as a portrait artist, I may take it to a very, very finish, but then maybe I can definitely work on it after I mount it, if I want to. I can
Okay,
still take it to the ultimate finish after I mount it, but I want a soft surface.
thank you.
So what kind of surface do you put it on? That's soft.
Oh, I use a drawing board with a lot of newsprint, like 10 pieces of newsprint, or you can get foam core, the science. Yeah, you can go get a bunch of those foam cores.
That's interesting.
boards.
Do you use that kind of gritty paper and do that?
Well, I did. It's over. Where is it? Oh, it's over there.
Oh,
That's this. No, I'll just say, I'm sorry. One more thing. Can you bring that over, please? Here's the U art that I tried yesterday because I wanted to make sure it worked for you guys. And I wet the back, but the back is like waterproof or something, so I didn't need to wet the back. But I didn't wet it. I did wet it, but you don't have to. And I just put the bead of glue, and you can mount it exactly the same way. I did it exactly like this. The glue, flipped it
So
over.
why don't you need to wet that when you do need to wet?
This had a waterproof backing on it.
Oh.
Where is the
Oh, it's that same.
Where is it? It's here. It's here somewhere. Add one more sheet. Here, here it is. So you feel that? I tried, it didn't soak up anything, so it didn't stretch, it didn't do anything. So you can, just for everybody, you can use this or any kind of other thick paper and just do it the same way, because at this size, it worked fine.
But without having to wet it.
So,
Well, I did win it, but.
I know.
do anything.
Right.
Yeah, you could just get regular boards. Oh, by the way, I also note in my handout, you can buy ampersand pre-gessoed boards. They're like 1/8 of an inch. They're very sturdy, very smooth. I paint on them, but you can just do this and they have different sizes. The framer that I use online is Florida Frames, and they actually will cut mats for you. They were relatively inexpensive a while ago. The whole I'm going to talk about spacers, and then Dot's going to show you how she does homemade spacers. So first, I'm going to deconstruct a pastel that I framed with spacers. So that'll be the first demo. So I've already undone the screws, removed my D-rings with the wire, and I use a backing paper. I like to seal it. I've already started peeling this one off. It was put on with a sticky, double-sided sticky tape. And you can see that backing paper anywhere?
I use, I was recycling. It's been written on. I use brown craft paper or black craft paper. You can buy this, I think, at craft stores, at the hardware stores. They even have the heavier duty.
In a roll.
In a roll. And they use it for flooring. That's what I use because it's heavy duty. Some pastelists don't use a backing paper, but they will put tape around here to seal it. Now, here we go. Here's an example. Framers typically put the paper on the back to seal it. What's important is that it's sealed. The advantage of the tape is I believe it's much easier to remove if you want to change the frame. And some buyers will see a picture and they might not like the frame. So they might ask you to swap it out. Or if you're a plein air painter, you may have a painting that you framed for a plein air show and you're going to reuse that frame for the next plein air event.
I read about why they put paper backing on the paintings, and it was to provide the moisture barrier. So I think if you have like your heavy duty backing board and tape, it's as good as brown paper.
Yeah. So I'm actually going to show you this. This was something I framed. It's not a fancy frame. It's a pastel will be. It was a quickie. So I wasn't really concerned about this being archival or staying framed for long. This was not for a show, but if it were for an exhibition, I would have taped this to make sure my points were well in. And I would have covered it, put a label on the back. In this case, some of my points aren't in here well. The other thing I did, so I'm going to tell you things you shouldn't do if you're looking to sell, because you want to use the nicest product as possible. So my backing board that I used here was not fancy stuff. It was the inexpensive foam, I wouldn't even call it foam board, but I think they call it foam board. The inexpensive stuff you buy at the craft store, which if you stick your nail in, it's the stuff you kids use for science fair, okay? That is not what you want to be using if you're framing this to put in a show or to sell. This was something I just did for myself.
Even if it's like acid free?
I
you can get
don't think this one
acid-free
was
foam
acid free.
core.
This
You
was
can get acid free foam core.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, you
This is
can
not
get-
foam core.
And it's still inexpensive, but it's not.
So this is my inexpensive stuff, which if you pinch it, it squishes.
Yeah.
This is foam core.
Okay.
If you pinch this, it does not squish. It still has the foam in the middle, but this is a hard surface. And this I'll use and put gesso on, and I'll, do paintings. Because the gesso protects, but this is, I think, acid free. I can't remember. I bought it for a long time ago,
I
but
think that's called gator foam.
no, it's different. Gator board is
Gator
different.
thicker.
But you can buy it online. It's expensive from a lot of places, but if you do searches, you can find companies that sell, will cut. They'll sell usually in the 4x8 dimensions, and they'll cut it to your size for an affordable price, because they're usually selling to companies who are doing like marketing stuff. They're big customers. You can buy white, black, or this color, the craft color, and I've used those. Okay, so I'm setting that aside because now we're down to the frame and a piece of glass that has, it's dirty, that has, it has spacers on it. Okay, and wow, that one was not done well. This was a real quickie. So bad example. Okay, so in this case, these spacers, I'm going to leave that because that came off. This is a spacer that is a solid spacer, rectangular, if you look at the end. And this is 1/8 inch by about 1/4 of an inch. It has adhesive on one side. And I cut it and stick it to the glass. I ordered mine online. You can order probably from any art supply store. Your framer will have them. Since I am thrifty and I knew I was going to be framing a number, I bought it in quantity.
I have a question.
Yes,
Is it solid or hollow?
it can be both, either.
In that company that you buy from?
Yes. So the company is Frame Tech. Sorry. Frame Tech manufactures multiple types. You go to the webpage, to the PDF we've posted. It has the link to Frame Tech. I did searches online for generic spacers, and every site that it took me to, it was Frame Tech spacers. I don't know if there are other manufacturers. There probably are. I searched Amazon as well, and it took me to Frame Tech spacers. It didn't give me any alternatives at the bottom, like the comparison. So I will make the assumption that it is the place to go. So there are different types. I don't know if you can see very well. Here's one, the solid one. It still has the adhesive tape on one side. That's the white side. This is a clear one, and it's solid. I'll show you that one. This is a different size. It is hollow. It's also rectangular. This one's a little larger, and the adhesive's on the thin side. These come in black, white, and clear. And they come in lengths up to, what's that, 5 foot. Okay. And if you buy 5 foot, you can cut those. So, and I'm going to.
What do you need to cut them with? Can you just do
I'll
this?
show you. You could probably use scissors. I use my handy dandy, ever so wonderful pruning shears. And I keep these, I keep them in this package so they don't slide around and stab things in my
supply box. And I keep it in my framing supply box because if I didn't do that, they would end up outside in my high tunnel and they'd be rusty or lost out in my. Yeah. So I have plenty of the ones that are rusty and covered in dirt that I use when I prune my berries. But these are just for this purpose. And I simply, when I measure, and I measure right on my glass. So in this case, I have a piece of glass here, before I do anything with it. I wear gloves, or I will use something, a folded piece of fabric, an old sock, something to protect my hands so I don't get cut by glass or get a splinter in my hand. Well, not with glass, but I've had enough splinters in my life that I don't want to have glass ones. So I'm careful how I handle glass. I might also use my paper towel. I don't have my gloves on yet. I've done a quick cleaning on this. I have seen people attach the spacers to the side of the frame. I don't recommend that. I recommend that you actually put it on the glass. And in this case, I'm not going to pull the tape off, but you could line it up. And if you want to mark it, you could mark it with a marker. That's probably prudent. But I would mark it.
And why don't you put it on the frame?
In this case, I'm not, because I don't want to.
But I mean,
have to take it off because I'm going to show you another
I
time.
think.
Oh,
Put
so
the
you
last
can
one
stick it
there.
on the frame. I have seen people do that where their frames, especially wooden frames, as they age, they're going to dry. So things can be loose. But the real reason I say put it on the glass is that if you attach your spacer to the glass, and you're going to see this with the other type of spacer I use, you put your spacers on. So I've cut it. You put your spacers on. You put your artwork down, which you will have mounted on the surface. So this one is mounted on a backing board. This would go down on the spacer. This is the wrong size glass. There's the other one. Sorry, I've got spacers on top. You would put it down on top, and then I recommend you put clear framing tape around that, and I'm going to show you that, around it, and you seal it. It's sealed all the way around, so you won't have vapor or moisture getting in. Once it's one unit and taped, this one that I pulled out was not taped because it was a quickie. It's one unit. You can take it out and put it in another frame. Okay, you don't have to. For cosmetics and for professionalism, I recommend you put paper on the back to seal it. But you've got a unit you can pick up and move. It is sealed. It's going to keep bugs out. If you don't do that, you run the risk of that vapor getting in there and damaging your pastel. And we'll talk a little bit about mildew and mold, I think. But if you have moisture get in, that can cause damage. I have a friend who moved down to Central America. She was a pastelist in Maryland Pastel Society. When she moved to Central America, she's like, I really can't work in soft pastels here because it's just too humid. So she switched to her other medium that she loved. But it matters. And if you give something to your kids, I had a friend who saw one of my pastels online, and she was building a new house, and she's like, that would be perfect in my new bathroom. And I'm like, no, sorry. You have she had petals she pulled out and that she found on the property that actually were, built into the shower tiles, whatever. It was all beautiful. And the colors were a perfect match, but no. So
get a digital print of it, maybe, and then do that.
Yeah, no, maybe she'll put it somewhere else when I give it to her.
So,
I
okay,
actually put my glass in there and then I put the spacers on while it's in there and then press it, you know. I mean, I know you're gonna press the,
yeah, and I think, because this one fell out, I suspect that that's probably what I did with this one, because the top spacer came right off, is I was in a hurry, and I put it in here real quick, and, yep, that's what I did, because this was a weird frame. My glass was smaller than my frame, that's what I did, that's why it happened. And so this was the way not to do it. So I stuck that spacer in there, up at the top. So when I took it out, what you saw was everything fell apart. That spacer came off. I had not adhered it properly to the glass. I had not taped around it. I mean, it was fine for what I needed at the time. I needed something framed to put up for my family member who wanted a honeybee picture. So I did that real quick.
and can I just say one thing?
Yes.
Sorry.
Yeah.
One more thing. What I do is I make sure I make this, the verticals, so they're even with the glass, and then I put the other ones
Yeah.
inside instead of,
I did a little drawing
oh, okay.
for, use the top one should always be like the lintel on top of the posts. You can't see this very well and it's all crooked, but you guys see my little drawing there online? See how the top one is sitting on top of the posts? And the reason we want to do that is the adhesive doesn't always stick. And I have seen people do this where it's not sitting on the lintels, it comes loose and it drops down. Especially those who have stuck them to the side of their frame. I did that. Early on, I stuck these, and I've seen other people do it when I've had to reframe something for an exhibition because something happened. And yeah.
Thank you, because I actually do the opposite and I should now do that.
And I mean, the adhesive is pretty good, but I have seen it happen where that top one will slide down, and if it slides down and it's got that adhesive, it's going to damage your pastel paintings. So I would go with the lintel on top of the posts. The bottom, it doesn't really matter. Your bottom can go any way you want. You can do it, you know, pinwheel style or whatever. But okay, so that would be the goal to stick on. You can stick it on your glass, put your image, your painting and your backing board, put that clear tape around it. This one I bought, it's just a clear tape. It is a wide tape. I'm sure you can get smaller. It's what I had. What you do need to be careful of is when you put the tape on, you have to keep in mind, because I've made this mistake as well. So when you put the tape on the glass, make sure it's not sticking out farther than your frame. Okay, because I have one I had it framed and I'm looking at it and the wooden frames will shrink over time. When I framed it, it was fine, but you know, later on, it's kind of, we saw this shiny spot and I was like, what's wrong with my glass? Well, it was the tape. And it's like, oh man, I can't hang that unless I fix it or I push it over, it didn't work. So
Sorry, where do you put the tape?
so when you put the tape on, you want to make sure it doesn't stick out so far that once it's in the frame, you see it. So you want it at the very edge. And so, you know, you look for that, you know, check. Okay, so the other type that I want to show you is, it slides, it doesn't have an adhesive, it actually slides right onto, where I put it. Okay, it actually slides onto the glass. So let's see if you can see it here. I'm going to pass a couple around. It's like a square S. And if you look very, very closely, one side is actually deeper than the other. And why would they do that? Because some glass is thicker than other glass. This particular piece of glass is just from the hardware store. It's nothing fancy. It's, you know,
framing glass, window pane glass, whatever. Why would I use that? Well, you know, my kids want my pictures, but my kids are not going to take care of the glass and clean it properly. And certain glass has to be, you don't dare use detergent on your museum glass. You'll ruin it. Okay, so some of them have finishes and have to be cleaned and with special properly. So just regular glass, 89 cents for this one from the hardware store is fine for my family members. They'll hang it up. They're not gonna, they're gonna leave it and it's gonna get dusty, it's gonna get dirty. They move a lot and who knows what'll happen to it. So anyway, so one side is thicker and it's fine for this glass. The other side is thinner and your museum glass, your, I can't think of the other names, conservation clear, they're thinner, they'll slide on better. So I'll pass these around.
What do you like best? I mean, do you have a preference?
Or I'm gonna hang,
Oh,
we'll pass that one around too,
Yeah.
yeah, actually. If I am framing for SOP, I have a piece that's accepted, I would prefer to use museum glass because it gives you the best clarity.
Well, I mean, okay. but-
Of these?
That-
Oh, I
that's
like the
different.
S-shaped ones.
The S shape.
I like these, the ones you can look at.
Versus the sticky one.
Yes, because eventually that sticky stuff might come off and it's
Goes
gummy,
like your-
like I just did, I just.
So, like this, you take it down.
I will show you what you do. And I'm going to use, let's see, I had a medium length one here. And then so. What do you?
No, my framework will be, to use 1/4 isopropyl alcohol to 3/4 water, put it in a spray bottle. I had a client who's, cleaning lady, she brought it back because I had to do something with it and there's all these streaks and she said, yeah, my cleaning lady said she didn't touch it. But you know, if you use a window cleaner, whatever, glass cleaner, it's gonna smear, but the 1/4 isopropyl rubbing alcohol with 3/4 water, I used it and it fixed that problem. But I have scratched museum glass and I've had to replace it as I'm, doing something. So you have to be, I mean, I never touch, once I get it from the, framer, yeah, and there's others, but they give me a little sticker that comes with museum glass for them and they say what to use, but then she told me, oh, this is the cheaper version.
So. I thought I had a medium length.
I like using these fibers place the soft
Okay.
ones that just, they're dancing
So-
a little bit.
If you can see, I have slid this right on there.
Yeah.
It can be hard to do. So it's got this channel,
Okay.
squared S, and if you go to our website, there's a, you can go to the link for Frame Tech and see it. This is called framed space, the squared Fs, and they have many different types of different thicknesses. The one I'm using is, it looks like a squared S. There are some that have a greater space. So, but you can look at the different types on the site and, you know, what your preference is. You may prefer something different. So you basically can slide it on. So one channel goes on the glass and the other is your space. So I am putting, actually, I'm going to put this one vertically because what I do, I'm just putting this one here as a placeholder because I'm going to use that to help me, give me a space because I'm going to work around the side. And I'm going to make sure this glass is a little wider. So I'm going to choose the channel, and this is where it gets tricky. So I'm going to use the wider channel.
Can you do that having it laying down on the surface, or is it just easier having it?
I'm holding it up. For me, it's easier if I have a good surface because I'm going to press it down actually. And this is where it's hard because if you have sort of failing eyes like I have, it's a little difficult to see where your edges. And it can be difficult to get this on. Another thing is, now there are videos on the site for how to do this. And so watch the videos. If you buy glass at the hardware store, like I said I did on this occasion, because I didn't need fancy glass, the edges might be crooked. So you probably want to file that edge. You don't have to go fancy and get from your file. If you have a brick or a rough stone, you can actually use that and wear your gloves, please. And you know,
In a mask.
but you can file the edge enough to make sure it's smooth without those splinters. So the reason I put a piece here, one of my little scraps here on the end, and I save my scraps for this purpose, is I want the space there because I'm going to work my way around and do each side, and that's going to be my last piece. So I want that space marked. So now when I take it off, that space is there. I don't have to worry about it when I come around. This is probably not the best way to do it, but I'm going to show you bad things that you shouldn't do. Is probably the best thing to do is to mark it, but I have been known to do this and cut it here. Usually I lift it, so hopefully I put enough of the print there. I'm doing it wrong-handed. Now I have it up away from the glass and cut it. You're not crazy like me. You will probably do, thank you. That can be easier. Usually I'm doing it on a surface where I feel that edge. Okay. And when I did that, I crushed it a little, so I'm gonna have to sort of dance it around. I'm gonna turn it. Now this is coming out to the corner. So I'm gonna put this on, and I will check as I do this to make sure that I'm not mixing up my sides. That oops, I've got it backwards because one side is deeper than the other. I switched it, so I use my finger to check that.
So this is preventing your spacers from moving around and chipping because you can't move them.
They're not gonna.
They're not going anywhere.
I mean, the adhesive will hold unless you've, it's something you've framed a long time ago. I would check the adhesive if it's an old one. It probably is fine, but if you've taped it, especially. And it gets a little tricky. How are we doing on time?
We're fine, don't worry about it. You just take care of yourself.
Because, well, or you can just imagine that I went all the way around.
So this one you do all the way around
Do
instead
all
of
the
the
way
two
around.
lentils.
And when you're done, it's gonna be boxed all the way around. So let's pretend I cut this, then I did this side, and I still have that spot with the glass, and then I did the final side and cut it. Now I have a piece of glass with a spacer all the way around it. I don't really did them something. It's not. All right, I'm just gonna say, pretend this is a pastel with a backing on it. I'm gonna put it on here and pretend that I've gone all the way around. And actually, this is kind of handy. I'm keeping the gloves on because I brought edges. But here you can see there's the spacer. Okay, and you can see this side doesn't have a spacer, but you can see the gap. That's the gap that would be there from the spacer. Okay, so then what I would do is take my clear framing tape and being very careful because I have a surface, I have an edge here because it's because it's on the glass. I want to make sure that my tape doesn't go off the edge of this plastic spacer, okay, and onto my glass, because then it can be seen. So I'm going to go all the way around, tape it all the way around, and make sure it's sealed and make sure my tape, my clear tape is sealing everything.
What tape is that?
I need my,
Oh, that's
Framer
clear.
tape. It is Framer's tape. I can't tell. It's Framer's tape to trademark. I can't tell what company manufactured it though. It's not in there. But it's clear Framer's tape. Okay, so that's, and once this is done and you've taped it all the way around, you can lift it up, put it in that frame, look at it, and go, oh, yeah, I hate it. Put it in another frame. Yeah. So,
So how do you do the taping when you're holding the two pieces together? I mean, how do you tape the outside of the glass frame
Okay,
first,
so-
over the spacer?
what you could do is, it's off there, kind of funky. I'm gonna cut this one so I'm not flipping it, hitting people. Thank you. Okay. So I would set it down. And I think I probably would stand it up. Can't remember what I do. Stand it up very carefully. And maybe if I have something I trust that I can lean it against, it's not going to move. Take my tape.
Can you slide the glass to the edge of the table and put a weight on the top of the glass with a piece of paper as well? You protect it and then it come from the outside of the table.
Good. I have scissors in there. I would have my scissors handy. And I would just very carefully line it up. And once because you've got
Yeah.
I mean, you can do it before you put your artwork there and get it ready. And I think, I would probably do
At least
one side and then flip it over, do the other side while I'm holding it. And then once I know it's good and clean and I've got it straight and I'm not going over in the glass where it'll be seen outside the rabbit of the frame, then I would just fold it over and press it down.
Is it removable or will it take off whatever is the, like tape takes off a layer of something on the back of the pasta, like the board? If you wanted to if you had to take off that tape.
Framer's tape, if you use a hair dryer, will loosen up, so
Oh,
you can take it off the back.
Never done that. I mean,
That's what I've read.
if you have it on a surface and you could even do like a little dog ear on the corner of your tape, so you could pull it up. If you're worried about that, I don't worry about that, because once I tape it, it's like done. It's on the glass, it's protecting the image. So, other things, plexiglass. So I have this glass cleaner. This was, I think, one that a framer recommended to me. So talk to a framer, even if you're framing your own work, it's okay to go talk to the framer. Go look at their different types of glass to learn about the glass. Talk to them, ask them how they clean their glass, get the information on their products. I have framed one piece with high quality acrylic, plexiglass. And I believe this is what was recommended either on the site where I bought it or by a framer. For cleaning plexiglass. But it was so long ago, I can't vouch for exactly what the advice was. But this is what I bought. I recommend lint-free cleaning cloths. You can buy these at the hardware store, at your big box store of your preference, in the car section. They're lint-free. I have not tried these yet, but also in the car section, I'm pretty sure I found these Scott glass paper towels, lint-free. So I haven't tried them. I will, but my first cleaning, if I'm using cheap glass, paper towels and window cleaner, be careful. Do your research before you use a cleaner. So, any questions? Yes.
I just bought a spray can of air from Home Depot because I put my glass in and I have my spacers and then I lay my pastel in.
Yeah.
And then I hold it together and look at it and see if I can see any. Cause I've already tried to
Yeah.
get rid of all the dust, but I
That's
don't
brilliant.
always do that. And so then I'm like, well, I think I can use this. It says on art and computers and whatever. So I haven't tried it yet because if you blow on the glass, you're gonna spit into it.
Yeah. Oh, that
Then when
sounds,
I see things get in it, even though I'm trying to.
Yeah.
I used a hairdryer.
When I turn this upside down on here, oops, take the bottom. These usually pick up any dust. I'm sure there's some
So
there
a lot of
now.
times inside the frame, the wood chips or residue.
Yeah.
from the frame
Yeah.
Or gold.
Yeah, leaf.
Stuff. all kind of-
Oh, that's a good idea.
We were curious as to what was being discussed.
Oh, okay, so Andre was talking about when she's framing, sometimes there's debris, maybe, dust from her pastel that gets on the glass when she's fitting it, or chips of wood from the frame, or little flakes of gold from the gold leaf that might fall on the glass. And you can't blow it off because you might spit on your glass. So was talking about using canned air that you use on your computer.
Okay.
To use that to get any of that debris off the inside of your frame area. I would say you probably want to, I know when I use it on other things, it gets really cold, so I don't know if it needs to dry.
What is it called?
Canned air. But I use the lint free cloths to wipe off my glass.
A tiny, it blows, but it also evaporates, but it's tiny.
It's a little handheld.
Yeah, but it's. That probably works
So-
really well, because you get steps,
This comment is about a little tiny device for your computer that not only blows air but also vacuums air. It's very small, so and that might be something to try. Okay, any questions? And just tools. I brought my toolbox, so big tools, important tools, point driver, I use that, points, you have to be careful. So read the instructions, follow safety procedures so you don't hurt yourself.
That shape, that's not like, you know what I mean, the pastel, it doesn't have like a impression, or is it just like?
I always worry about that. But I check, I have not had a problem. You know, usually most of us, we take our pastels out and spank them before we frame them, make sure we knock any loose dust off. And we have a lot of members who really have a heavy hand with, kind of impasto kind of approach. And, they have figured out how to whack their pastel well to get the loose stuff off. But I do, I'll put it down and I'll check before I do that final thing. This is a trick that one time Stan Spurlock did a demo for a group of students in a workshop. And you'll see, Dot will actually show you when she puts in her points, most of us put in our points sideways, right, behind it. Stan, these aren't done very well. Showed us it. Sometimes he puts them in vertically. So with extra care, I will put them in vertically without the pastel there. So that's a way to deal with not having that concussion. I will put them in vertically, put my artwork in, and then I bend it down. And this one's really bad because they're right at the edge because I rushed.
You have to have the ones that actually bend, because I have ones that are not.
Yes.
flexible.
Yes. So I would say, do your research, go look at framing sites, see what, there's other ways other than using the point driver. There's swivels, there's if you have, we talked about, if you don't have a deep rabbet, there's the offset. I don't know exactly the clips that you screw on. So there are alternatives that you can look into. Find something you're comfortable with, or use a framer. Get to know a framer. If you're a repeat customer, you can work out probably something that will work, you know, like Denise said, found affordable solutions. So, we'll talk about, you saw D-rings, but we can talk about D-rings if you have questions about wiring, after Dot does her talk. So we're ready.
Everybody's talking about different parts of framing. One thing no one has mentioned is you have a painting, sign it, sign it. Don't undo your frame and have to, sign your work again. And then put your information on the back, okay? And print it. Because somebody 50, 60 years from now will say, who the hell's that? You say, oh, that's who that is. That's where she's from. Okay.
Oh, can I ask a question though?
Yes.
This is your question. Why don't you ask?
It doesn't matter.
If you had entered into the jury show.
Yes.
And you signed it.
Yes.
How did you do that without them seeing your signature?
Gee, I don't know. Some block them. I've heard of that, but they try not to. They try not to be prejudiced and look. Okay. Now, okay. So what I'm doing, I am framing without a mat. I have a spacer between my art and the frame itself. Okay. And that's what we're going to do today. All right. Tools I use. This is black acid-free foam core. This is about 1/8 inch. It actually comes in different thicknesses. So if you tend to like frames with deeper rabbets, you could adjust it to what you like. This is double-sided tape. It's fillet tape, FILLET. This is really nice. It's only 1/8 inch thick. Very handy. Craft knife, pan for used blades and fresh blades. I buy them by the 100. Always use a fresh blade because what happens is you cut your mat board or whatever board, and if it's a dull blade, it will fray. Okay, and that looks like hell, and it will show. If it's on a mat, it'll show. If it's on a spacer, ragged, it'll show. Do yourself a favor. Get good stuff. This tool, wait a minute.
I recognize that.
Okay. This is a hemming tool. And it has a little lever here that you can adjust, and people would hem their stuff. And that little red lever there would, stay in one place so that they'd be consistent. Very important tool. So, what I'm going to do here, I'm going to frame that little painting. I'm taking the glass out. I'm going to take my framing tool, that's what I call these on my framing tools, my little hemming tool, and I'm going to measure that rabbit. Let me see here. Wait a minute. I have a little piece of tape I use. Okay. I'm going to actually put it in there and measure that exactly. Okay. All right. Everybody. And just go right in there, and it's consistent all the way around. I've never had one that was not consistent. Now, after you've gotten that exact, you're going to come in just a little bit, because now you won't see that spacer. Okay. And what I do is, just to make sure it doesn't shift, I have a little piece of just plain old tape, and I put it there so it doesn't shift. Put this frame back in. And you're always cleaning your glass. Spray it on the cloth. That's enough right there. And these are wonderful. They really are wonderful. Okay, nice and clean. Okay, Now we can move the camera down a little bit.
What is that black?
This is, what I'm gonna do is that measurement I have, I'm gonna mark it on my foam core. Okay? And then I'm gonna take a metal straight edge. It's the best thing to do. And I know I have a fresh blade in here because I did it while the other demos were going on. And I'm just gonna line up exactly those two spots. And you know, when you cut a mat board, you always do it lightly. It's always a light pass. And you might do 2 or 3, but it's better for your blade. And if you slip, you don't cut your handle. Okay, come on. Sure. Okay, now I already cut the other ones, okay? Now we're going to fit them. Now this is,
So.
wait.
Oh my gosh.
Ah.
Finally getting what's going on here. Just getting it.
Okay.
You just made a phone for the face.
Yes, I did. Okay, now what we're gonna do next is, I like to compare this to building a house. This is a horizontal painting. So I want the longer pieces down here to support the walls. It's sort of what Mary was talking about. There we go. There you are. Okay. So what I'm gonna do is measure. And the hell with rulers. You're going to stick that corner into that corner. And you're gonna trim. Everybody see that? Okay. All right. No, Gian, no hard math. I'm just gonna take my razor. And it fits, okay? Perfect. I'm gonna do another one, same way. Stick it into the corner. Oh, and also, when you do your first cut, always stick it in the frame. I don't wanna lose my glass here. And you see how where my this thumb, you can see that little bit of wood past it, past the spacer. Okay, look, see guys?
Yeah.
Okay, so now I know I made a good cut and it's not gonna show.
So why are you using black?
So white will show through. White, definitely use black, because I used to use white and then I do a black magic marker over it because it was distracting. Okay, so I'm gonna do my second cut. Just like that. It fits perfect, okay? So I'm using the side of the frame to make that cut. Now I'm going to take this piece and move it up against here, okay? There's 2 pieces here, okay? Now I'm going to measure the short side. I'm going to take this and put it up against the other 2 pieces, okay? Okay. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to just cut it right at the edge. There. Perfect fit.
Hey, Dot, you know that the corners, don't you?
Gosh, you're new.
You're
Thank God.
the one they use.
Okay. So now we're going to dry fit this to see that it works. Always dry fit because you don't want to be playing with this later. All right. Okay, look at that, perfect fit. Okay. Okay. See, what? I say they're down.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So now we're going to put the adhesive on. I'm going to gently take these out. I'm going to clean the glass again. Always clean the glass. Let go. Oh, by the way, be organized. This is what I do with my stuff, because I was always losing my craft knife and my razors. I just lost this thing. Okay. So you're going to put the tape on the paper side of the mat cord. Okay. All right. Sorry.
Is that double sided?
It's double-sided. Yes.
Called fillet tape?
Yeah, FILLET, like fillet, except with an extra L. Okay, so just take a strip, just like this.
FI.
And what kind of tape is that?
Called fillet tape, FILLET.
See, and I just put it on the wrong side because I was distracted. That's all right. I thought it looked a little narrow.
Where do you get the tape?
Anywhere.
Fill it.
Sometimes they call it ATG tape.
Good to know those different names.
Yeah. There, we'll just stick that on there. Okay,
And it's an eighth of an inch.
see, it's an eighth of an inch, and give it a little bit of pressure, because these are pressure sensitive, okay? And I'm gonna do 1. And if it gets a little sticky, it gets a little sticky. And I do this with big frames too, it does not matter.
What's the biggest, longest side that you've done?
24 inches.
That's
Yeah.
pretty big.
That's pretty big. Yep. So
You use a different size foam board?
it depends on how deep the rabbit is. If the rabbit's pretty deep, yeah. I do have a few that are deeper, thicker. Okay. Yes. What's nice is if you get the tape that is thin like this, it's not that hard to manage. It's really not.
Sure.
Um, Trim, push that back, get it away. Okay. And I did make sure my glass was clean. And like Mary said, sometimes the glass is kind of funny, it doesn't quite fit, so you just try to center that glass best you can. Now, take I'm building a house. So I'm doing the longest, the basement first. Okay?
You know what, I'm just gonna say, you know what I do? I hold the glass and shift it down so that I know if I line up this with that.
I don't have to. Okay, but this is gonna be up against the glass, the frame.
Yeah.
So it's not
Oh,
gonna
it's gonna
shift,
be-
and this is taped.
Oh.
So it will not shift. Okay, so I will show you, you're going to push the longest piece into the corner. And I have this raised, take a look. Take a look, because this is tape, all right? I make sure this corner's in. And then I just kind of guide it against the wood. Okay?
Oh, not on the glass.
It's
good for my
the
husband
sticky
to learn
side
how to
thing,
do it.
because I was yelling at you guys. I didn't. I'm just gonna cut that off.
So you attached the wood.
No, glass.
Oh, okay.
But you're pushing it up against the.
A frame against the back. Okay, maybe I'll show you. When I'm applying it, I am going against this bottom, making sure it makes, so it stays, okay? See, it's right.
You cut the length, so it kind of pushes against the ends too.
Yeah, okay, so I'm gonna do this for the camera. If somebody wants to assist, who would like to test it again? You do. Okay, I just want you to support this. You guys, yeah, okay. So, okay, guys, let me see. Can you see this good?
Yes.
Okay. You kind of have this end raised, okay? But I'm pushing this into the corner. And I'm pressing it. And this is still raised a bit, but I'm going down against the wood. All right, there, see, and that fit perfect. All right, now after I do that, I do press it down. Okay, make sure you press it down. That it is a contact glue. Okay.
I didn't know I was getting paid.
Yeah, see that?
Wait for that check.
Yeah, wait for the check. That's
Yeah.
right. Okay, so again, always press into the corner. Just go against that wood.
That way it doesn't shift.
Right, it will not shift. Okay, and then the last one, where'd it go? Did I drop it? Did I drop it?
Is that?
Oh, that's it, thank you. Okay. And the tape peels off pretty nice. It does. Okay, again, into the corner, against the wood. Okay. And again, rub it, and it's in there. Now I'm sticking my fingers on. Okay, can you see? There's a little bit of the wood showing.
Right.
Okay, all around. All right. Now I'm gonna clean that glass again because I stuck my fat fingers all over it.
So do you think that Hemmers tool, that's still available? That's not like an old school thing?
What's that?
The Hemmers tool, you know, the sewing.
Oh, they do have.
Oh, yeah, they have.
Yeah.
Ah, this worked great.
I
No, but where
Can
do
you
you
still
get it?
buy those? You can get
The store that- the thrift store, it's called a hemming tool. And people sew or steam.
I feel, yeah.
I'm from Lancaster.
You can get 3 of them for $6.69 on.
There you go.
On.
I collect these too.
Yeah. Okay, all right, so then I'm going to put in my painting that I have signed. That I am sure I have signed, and here's my information on the back.
So
Pardon?
before you do that,
Yeah.
can you remove the glass with the spacers on it without
Yeah.
a lot of
Well,
difficulty?
I do have these in there, so it's a little
Oh,
tougher,
okay,
but it could, but these are
Yeah,
sort of in the way.
okay.
This is a
yeah,
frame I used before.
got it.
So,
Now, did you
but
sign,
could.
did you sign the front also?
Yes,
Okay.
always sign it, but and I sign in pencil so you can never see it.
Okay.
Yeah,
I don't
it's-
need it.
So, you can see it.
No, I did that too. I did it.
Now, when you submit it to jury shows, do they want an image of your work?
Yeah.
And you would take a picture before you would.
Always,
Oh,
okay, so you sign your work,
Yeah.
you put your information on the back, you take a photograph, and then you frame it, okay? Now, I did that, I have my backing board with my business card on it.
So what is that made out of?
That's mat board. And see, it's a perfect fit, so that 1/8 inch does work. And I have my dog-eared screwdriver, I always keep handy, and use that to push things down. Okay, it's very vintage, it was my first dog. Which is like 40 years ago. All right, so I should turn it the right way. Okay.
What do you use to affix your card?
I use, they don't make this anymore. 3M made a 3M positional adhesive. And it came on a roll and it was wonderful to work with. And the supplier who provided a raw material went out of business and they couldn't find anybody else to make this stuff, whatever it is. And they discontinued it.
Oh, that's a shame.
So I am going to look at that, who had that? Was it Yes?
Yes.
Yes glue. Because I don't want to spray, anyway, I'll put more of these in. But there it is. oh, I will, say I wanna put more of the,
Oh, okay. Yeah, and I see
Thank
what you mean about why black is better.
Right.
yes, because if this was white, you would see it.
Absolutely.
You know, if you came up closer to it, you go, oh, look at that. Now, something else, now, after you put in all of your hooks and whatnot, D-rings are really nice because they are flat, okay? As opposed to the eyes that stick out. So if you're traveling to a show and you've got a bunch of paintings, D-rings will not poke holes in your paintings or break your glass, okay? So, or scratch your frames. Well, not as easily.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and when I'm done, you know, I'm gonna put in more of those, points, flexi points. And then I tape only. I don't bother with the, paper. It kept getting ripped, so I said the heck with that.
And that type of tape is what?
Framers tape,
Oh, okay.
still the
same
framers
stuff.
tape.
And
It's
that's-
acid free, so it's good. And that is all for today.
Oh, that's pretty fun.
We have some locations, galleries where we've exhibited where they mandate D-rings.
Yeah.
And the reason why is, well, they like to have that wire on there, but sometimes some of the hanging, rods, they hook right into the D-ring. They do not hang by the wire. They hang by the D-rings. So, always check the prospectus, or if it's not in the prospectus and you get accepted into an exhibition, juried show, they may send you additional information with the hanging standards. And if they say D-rings, use D-rings, never ever use sawtooth hangers. But always follow those instructions because it may be very specific to the type of hanging system they have. And it could cause you to be bumped at the last minute if you haven't followed instructions. So that's one thing to remember. Also, we were talking about putting your wire on. So some people have different techniques. I was taught to run my wire through the D-ring and then pull it through, wrap it tightly, and then loosely for about, I don't know, depends on the size of your frame, loosely, and have it tight across here because it'll stretch. And you were talking about the method you use, which is another I've done on heavy frames.
Okay, your D-rings sometimes will shift like this. So when I am screwing those D-rings in, I'll see if I can shift them at all. Okay, so they shifted that much. So I'll put the wire on, and a lot of the hangers that they use are about 1.5 to 2 inches long. So I will measure my wire to that length, okay? And it actually adds the consistency when you're hanging your wall.
Yeah.
So,
I
never have used.
And then I do the twist.
yeah, everybody does a little
You
something.
know,
Use it or not,
And then
it
they
goes
give
on
it the
there
heavy
to like a rabbit hole.
Oh, especially,
whatever.
Yeah.
And I leave one side loose and one side tight.
Okay, that's a good
They can
strategy.
do other things.
But never, please don't send an artwork with a really loose wire, because we've had ones where we've
Had to restring them. We've restrung them.
wire is showing, we have to restring your wire. We don't like to do that, but if it's a matter of bumping out or making an adjustment, we'll make the adjustment, but we prefer not to mess with your stuff. Yeah, do it tight. I do mine straight across because they stretch. A little bit of give. Yes, that's fine, but don't have it loose.
I have my framer give a little bit of give, like Dot just said, but not as much. And so you have to get your hand behind there to actually do the hooking.
Yeah.
You need a little give.
I was taught to put it 1/3 down of the total height.
Yes. Yes.
Are you hearing that?
And the wire coated wire
Yep.
gives more than the.
Yeah, it doesn't have a tendency to break after time.
Yeah,
Believe
but
it or
it,
not.
but some, yeah, galleries do want to have. So,
We did not prepare a presentation on glass. It's really hard to talk about glass when you can't see it. But, so we're going to kind of do this as a discussion. First of all, what I recommend, if you're not familiar with some of the, when people start talking about glass, it gets very confusing because there's brand names, there's manufacturers, and it can be kind of, what's that one so-and-so uses? I can't remember. So I recommend two things. One, go to a framer, and even if you go to Michael's, they have on display I think 3 different types of glass so that you can see what the glass looks like over the work. You'll be amazed at the difference in the non-reflective, in the UV. But, use what you can, go with what's practical for you and what's appropriate for the venue. Okay, like I said, for my kids, I'm going to use inexpensive glass just because I know my kids. But if it's something really special and I know the person knows how to care for it, obviously, or if I'm selling something, I'm going to use quality glass. So there are resources again on our webpage, but you can do Google searches on framing glass. There are a lot of framing sites that have wonderful information. Much of the terminology that I've heard over the years about glass, people talk about TrueView glass, they'll talk about Conservation Clear. TrueView is a company that produces all of these different types of framing glasses. I didn't see other companies, but I'm sure if I did longer research, I'd find them. But go search and you will get great descriptions. There's a great wiki page about glass and framing, different types of glass. But again, framers will have sites, websites that have information. I have links to a number of sites in the PDF that we put up on our webpage. But real quick, so clear glass is the least expensive. It will reflect. It will also let UV rays through. We had a framer talk to us many years ago here at the Society, and he said, well, even regular glass gives some protection. It's not as good as UV glass, obviously. And one thing to think about is regardless what glass you use, you don't want to hang your pastels or any of your artwork in bright sunshine next to a window. You want to hang it in a place it's not going to get that gross. There's non-glare glass, and it offers a matte kind of finish. It's not the prettiest glass, and it doesn't do your pastel paintings justice. We do have members who will use it, and some people, may like it. I don't think it gives a clear view of your artwork. UV protective glass has a special coating to, I guess, block or reflect. I guess it really reflects UV. And there's a piece there that you can look at when you come up to the table. Again, go to a framer. You can see what it does. And that helps protect from fading. It won't protect completely, but it'll definitely is better than not protecting it. Museum glass, and that's really the premium glass. It is thinner. It is pretty much non-reflective. If you put a piece of museum glass on your pastel, the first time I saw a demo of framing with museum glass, it was very good artist, and the pastel was a plein air piece. And I looked at a table, it's like, oh, that's nice, but it's not, it didn't float my boat. When it was framed under the UV glass, the whole world changed. It was just, it popped. So I recommend if you're entering a, be at a level you're comfortable. But, if you really want to impress in a juried exhibition, you're gonna do a little better with with a museum glass. It is expensive. And you have to clean it according to the instructions in order to maintain the surface. Let's see. Acrylic or plexiglass. So if you're gonna frame a big piece, or if you're shipping, you may want to choose a plexiglass. Don't go down to the hardware store and buy a piece of plexiglass that you're gonna put in your storm door. That is bad. And it's gonna look bad, and it's gonna be filmy and milky-ish. It may look clear from the door, but it's not going to look good on your painting. You need to buy the quality framing plexiglass. It is not inexpensive. It's costly.
It's actually more expensive than the museum glass.
Yeah. But it is, I framed one piece under that, and it did a nice job. I was not embarrassed.
Can you actually send pictures for exhibitions with glass in them?
Yes, you can. So you want to use really good quality shipping container designed for shipping glass. Now, some people have made their own and very effectively. There's a company that has supported us in the past by giving us a discount for shipping artwork for our show. Anyone who's shipping, it's called Airfloat. And these boxes are designed for shipping artwork. They also have a special film, and I forgot what the product is called, but they sell it, that you put on your glass. And it's an adhesive, clearish film just for shipping. And when it gets delivered, it's removed from the glass. But if anything happens and the glass breaks, that helps protect the glass from damaging your painting. When we have an exhibition and we receive shipped artwork, and they put this film on, we are very careful when we remove it and put the box into storage to try to maintain the integrity of that film, because we will try to put it back on before we return ship it. So go look at Airfloat and look at their products and just look through and read the descriptions. There's another company that does shipping cases. We put it in our slideshow that we did. Beeline, yeah.
Pieces to Catherine's house. And two of them had glass and one didn't. The boxes were really expensive, but they had all both sides and a cutout. You could actually custom fit your artwork to it because with the phone.
And it's the same with the Airfloat. So Uline and Airfloat are two companies we're aware of. And she was saying you can basically customize the padding, the foam, the sizing for your artwork. They are fairly expensive, but most people who ship artwork to juried exhibitions are going to ship to other exhibitions, and the boxes can be reused. And some of the ones we receive, it's obvious that they've been used probably 100 times. You see the old labels and all the tape that's been cut through and retaped. So if you are into shipping artwork for juried exhibitions, it is worth the investment. I have not done it myself, so I can't give you personal experience. I have seen other artwork shipped. I think some of the other shipping companies have their own ways of packaging. So, you can look into that. So that's kind of a quick summary. In the material we put on the webpage, there's also a link to what's the company? I forgot. there's a link to a TrueView company which manufactures many of these products that people talk about. Their museum glass, their conservation clear. What are some of the other products? Because the terms always come out.
In the
Their
mounting,
conservation
the
glass.
mounting paper or surface can be found on multimedia. I just looked it up, whereas Dakota apparently is not carrying it right now. Multimedia is the company that you could still find that particular product
Okay.
and about the same price.
So we will try to pull together some of the information on some of the products that we've talked about today that people favor, and we'll try to put some of that information together with links and make that available on the website.